Welcome race fans, this is Ron with Big Wizard Racing, going through our new series, Painting with Patterns. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go through a few basics on getting started with painting your own cars in iRacing using the Gimp tool. Gimp is a free downloadable software. You can just go to their website and grab the file. It's free to download, and you can go right to their website, which is gimp.org. So, all right, I'm going to get started here with a couple things first. What you're going to need to make this all work. This is Gimp, of course. But before we get into Gimp, you're going to need to go to your iRacing account. When I do previews and look at the car, I do it on iRacing, so it's actually in a racing environment. So in order to do that, you have to have a few details, okay? First of all, you need to know your iRacing account number. Now in the iRacing, this is the new UI for iRacing, and under your helmet, it's going to show you a profile button, okay? In your profile, right up here at the top, it's going to show you your member profile ID number. You're going to need that to be able to preview the cars as we make them using GIMP. And I'll show you how to do that. But make sure you know what that number is. This is my number, so it's not going to help you. It won't work at all if you try to use my number. But there will be, your number will be there, 6-digit number. Grab that and write it down. Make a note of it, and you'll be able to use that here in a minute. All right, second thing you're going to need is when you go to my content and paint your car, there's a little pull down here. It says download templates. You're going to need a template of the car you're going to paint. Now today, for this quick, fast example, we're going to use the NASCAR Camaro, the Cup Camaro, okay? So you would download this, find a spot to put it. I have Dropbox location. I use that for a lot of things for myself. I really like Dropbox. It keeps things organized. It lets me use more than one computer on the same files. So download the file you need. Save it somewhere you know where it is. I'm not going to go through how to set up your file structure on your computer, but put it in the downloads folder or the documents folder, somewhere you know where it is. All right, you're going to need a few logos. So if you go to the internet and go searching up your logos for companies, you can find a bunch of them. I use the internet a lot, and I go find different logos. Like I've got some German ones, and these are just logos that I found on different, on the web that represent some German car manufacturers, or I got some Italian pizza places. I mean, there's lots of different things you can do. Halloween candy, M&Ms, McDonald's. There's lots of things that you can work with. So get a couple logos, stick them in a folder so you know where they are. And then one other thing you need to do in iRacing when you review your paints is you're going to need to make sure the wheels look good. It's not critical, but when you go in here to your cars, and you can't do this while your car is on track. So if I get out of that, and then I go into my car, whatever car I'm going to paint, I can paint the car, and in here I can pick the wheels, and I can pick what the wheels look like. I can pick a color, and that will now be, when I look at those cars, when I look at that car in iRacing, it's going to have red wheels on it. Okay, you cannot do that while iRacing, the main program, is open. So if you're in a session in the sim, you can't do that. You have to get out, and then you can go to paint your car. Otherwise, they'll give you an error message saying you can't paint. You can't get to the paints while you're in the session. So that's how you change your wheel color. You just go in, you hit paint car, you pick your wheel on here, wheels, pick a color. Any color will do. You pick a finish. You can go chrome, matte, brush, semi-gloss, and then that's it. There's your color. All right. Okay, and then the other thing you need to make sure you do is if you use trading paints, I use trading paints, which most of us do, make sure that's off. And if you turn it off here, that doesn't turn it off. You have to go down here to your system tray, and if you don't see it down here, you can click the little up arrow. That's what I have, and there's the icon for it. Okay, you have to right click on that and hit exit. Now it's gone, so it's no longer active. You need to make sure that you do not have trading paints on when you do this. Otherwise, you will fight with trading paints on to be able to see what is on the car. So just be aware of that. Okay, let's go ahead and start up with GIMP. Show you a few things that I do when I get started. First off, I set up my tools. Some people like this where you can pull down the tool options. See, I can't even get it to work. I hate it. Here's the different tools in that tool set. You can actually go pick different tools from that tool set. But I don't like messing with this. To me, it's really cumbersome. So you go into Edit, Preferences, and you go to your tool box, and you just turn off tool groups. I just click that off, and now all my tools are there. I can see them all. You can also go into here and set the theme, and you can change the size of your icons. If you can't see your icons because they're too small, then you can make them bigger. Or if they're really too big and they can't even fit on the page, then make them a little smaller. This is going to depend on your resolution of your monitor, so it's never going to be the same. If medium works for me, you might need to do large or huge. It just depends on your screen and your resolution and how it all works. Okay, but that's a key for me because I like being able to find my tools. I know what all these are now after a while, at least most of them. But I at least can see them and I know where the ones are that I use. You can rearrange them too if you feel like it. The other thing I do is over here on the right. This is where the brushes and the patterns and all that stuff is, history of what you're doing. Okay, I like to put the selection editor up in there. So you go to select and click on selection editor and it puts the selection editor over here. Right now it doesn't show you a whole lot, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, next up is going to be opening our file we're going to use. So remember I said to download the template file from iRacing and put it somewhere you know? Let's open one. So we're going to open, and I use Dropbox. I put everything in iRacing. I've got all my vehicles down here. And let's see if we can find the Cup Camaro. And we're looking for the actual file that was downloaded. It's always a PSD file. They send the files down in PostScript format, which is an Adobe Photoshop format. You can use GIMP with these. It'll convert them no problem. So I highlight the one that was in that downloaded. I have a few of them in here. I've got a lot of things going on here, but and I'll show you some of those in later videos. But this is the Camaro Gen 6 PSD file. You hit open. It's going to ask you to convert the file. So a little window will pop up. May show up in a different window, a different screen if you have multiple screens. But here it is. It's saying, do you want to convert it? Just hit convert. You can't go on without it. And there's our car. Okay, so we have our Cup Camaro. All right. Then I go down here to the paintable area. We'll turn on the patterns so we can see the different patterns. And I'm just going to pick a pattern for the car. This one looks fairly decent. So we'll pick this pattern, and we're gonna export this to iRacing. Make sure trading paints is off, of course. Okay, here's our pattern that we're gonna put on the car, and we need to fire up iRacing. So let's get a session going. Test drive. Let's get our Camaro up here. Not sure why anyone has anything else other than the Camaro, but they're in here. Okay. And we better not pick a road course. That'd be difficult. Let's go with Darlington. That'll work. Continue. Test drive. All right. So while that's opening, I'll show you where to save this. So file, we'll do an export. Okay, you need to export it. You cannot save the file at this point. This is a GIMP file. This is an XCF file now that it's been converted. So when you want to save the template to something iRacing can read, you're going to save it as a TGA file, Targa file. Okay, so you're going to do export as, and as soon as that finishes loading, it's going to come up in front of me. And you need to find this. This is important to where to save the file and what to call it. Okay, so where you're going to save this file is you're going to save it right in the iRacing folder, and there's a paints folder for every car you own that you've driven. There's a paints folder there. So it's under your C drive, under your user, under documents, iRacing, paint, the car name, I think that's the one. Thought it was 2019. And you change the name of the car, of the file. This is where you need your number, car underscore and your number. Okay, and you have to change it. Don't save it as a PSD because iRacing doesn't know what to do with that. Go down here to the bottom, select file type by extension. You're going to scroll down to the T area and you're going to find Targa, which is a TGA file. See, now it's car, the number. It's car, the number, and then TGA. Hit export. It's going to come up with a little prompt. You leave it at bottom left, hit export, and now it's going to push this red car out to my car on the track. Okay, so let's get a setup that'll work here. All right, so now we're set up at Darlington, and we're in our little Camaro, and we're going to drive around. You cannot see the car until you drive around a little bit. You just have to have the driver in the car for this to work. You don't have to go around doing lap after lap after lap, but sometimes I've gone out of the pits and I haven't driven around enough, and when you go look at your car, you can't see it. So we'll just stop here on the backstretch. We'll get out of the car. And there's the car. Okay. That is the stock paint from iRacing. I was painting a car recently for somebody, and I changed the letters or the numbers to pink for what I was doing. So you get pink numbers today. All right. So now that I've exported this car out to iRacing, I can go to the car. I can hit Control R to refresh the paint, and it will show me the new paint job. This is the same paint that's right here. Okay, the red with the green and blue speckles and stripes. That is now on the car. Okay, and a couple tips here that I took forever to figure out. Control R refreshes the paint, but it only refreshes the paint while your driver is in the car. If you're sitting back at pit lane and no one is in the car, it'll make it white and it'll stay white. So if your car doesn't change color, it's probably because there's nobody in the car. Another thing you can do is Control F12. That's Control Function 12 to bring up this camera edit window. With the edit window, you can zoom in on the car. You can look at some good detail if you're looking for something in particular. You can change the angles of how the car is sitting. You can change all your camera stuff. So there's lots of different things you can do with camera TV2 in number 2 spot at Darlington. So just remember Control F12 to bring that up, and it'll stay down here at the bottom until you go out and go back in. And you just hit Control F12 again, it'll come back up. And then Control R while you're on iRacing screen will refresh your paint. All right. So that's it for the first video. I'm going to try to keep these pretty short, so that should be about under 15 minutes. But that's how you pull up a template, open it, and save it out to your car. Next video, I'm going to get into making some custom paint using one of these templates and making the car look a lot better than just this bright red with the strange green hood. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you being here for the new Paint with Patterns series. These are the car patterns I'll be painting with. So we'll do some exercises with those, and then I'll show you a few tips and tricks along the way, hopefully help you out getting some stripes and some patterns and some color diffusion correct as you get multiple colors. We'll go over some working with logos and contingencies and things like that, and how to keep things organized so you know where everything's at. So good talking to you today, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.